Coming to the diagnosis of mucormycosis. See, for diagnosis of mucormycosis, you must have a very high degree of clinical suspicion. The clinician must suspect the patient of mucormycosis based on his past history, risk factors, and the clinical features with which he is presenting. So high degree of clinical suspicion is required for mucormycosis. What is the most sensitive modality for definitive diagnosis? What is the most sensitive for definitive diagnosis of mucormycosis? It is histopathological examinations. Histopathological examinations will actually reveal the organisms. It will show you the organisms. So on histopath, how does the organism look like? The histopath organism looks like they are wide, more than 6 to 30 micrometer. They have thick wall, very important. They are ribbon like, and most importantly, they are aseptate hyphal elements that branch at 90-degree angle. They are aseptate hyphal elements that branch at 90-degree angles. So mucormycosis will mostly look like this. They will branch at 90-degree angle and they will be aseptate. Now you have to differentiate it from aspergillosis. Aspergillosis on the other hand is just opposite of this. They are thick walled, and most importantly they are septate and they branch at acute angles like this, acute angle. As you all know that if I turn my finger upside down, this makes an acute angle and this looks like the word A. So aspergillosis has acute angle. This way you can remember, whereas mucormycosis branch at 90-degree angle and they are aseptate, very important. So what are the stains used for histopathological examination? The stains used are PAS and methenamine silver stain, very important, you have to know. And if the burden is very high, then H&E stain can also be used. PCR is the next option for investigation, not approved by USFDA. Next is culture. It is not that very good because culture is positive only half of the patients, and in mucormycosis, although mucormycosis is a very fastidious organism and it grows very fast within 48 hours, both at room temperature and 37 degrees Celsius. Now the next investigation is CT and MRI. MRI is a very important investigation, but the main disadvantage of MRI is that it cannot differentiate between bacterial sinusitis and fungal sinusitis. But the very main advantage of MRI is that it is very sensitive, 80% for detecting CNS involvement and eye involvement. It can very finely detect these involvements, orbital and CNS involvement. And the last is endoscopy. So now coming to the most important part of mucormycosis video is its treatment. Now we all know that what is the drug used in the treatment of mucormycosis? It is liposomal amphotericin B. What is the dose of LAM? It is 5 to 10 milligram per kg QID as per Harrison. Now what I have written next is not actually I have taken it from any book or Harrison. I have actually taken it from what actually is done in my college RIMS. I have actually given I have written about how actually LAM therapy is started in a patient. So let's get started. The first step of starting a patient on LAM therapy is not starting LAM. The first step is hydrating the patient. It is very important thing. In LAM therapy, first you will hydrate the patient. How will you hydrate the patient? It is 500 milliliter of normal saline with KCl. Why you have to hydrate the patient with 500 NS? It is because LAM is highly nephrotoxic and it reduces the nephrotoxicity of LAM. Why KCl is added? KCl is added because LAM causes hypokalemia, so it prevents hypokalemia from happening. Now step 2. LAM is started at a dose of 5 mg per kg. How? IV infusion at the rate of 4 to 6 drops per minute. Now it is very important to understand that how actually LAM infusion is started. See, for example, my patient is 80 kg. So in a patient of 80 kg, what is the dose of LAM? It is 80 multiplied by 5, that is 400 milligram of LAM I have to use. But this is ideally 400. Actually 400 milligram of LAM is not given to the patient. Why? Because of nephrotoxicity. So what is the dose that is given? It is somewhat less than the ideal dose, that is somewhat less than 400. In my case it is 300. I will use 300 milliliter of LAM instead of 400, which is ideal. Now how will I actually infuse 300 milliliter of LAM? See, one vial of LAM contains 50 milligram of LAM. Okay, so how many vials do I need to infuse 300 milligram of LAM to my patients? I will need 6 vials. I will need 6 vials for that. Now I will take all the 6 vials, means 300 milligram of LAM. I will reconstitute it with sterile water. It's very important that LAM in vial is actually lyophilized. You have to reconstitute it first. Very important, not with normal saline, with sterile water. Now after you have reconstituted it sterile water, all the 300 milligram of LAM, then you will mix it with 500 milliliter of 5% dextrose, and this whole mixture is actually put on IV infusion slowly, IV slowly, at 4 to 6 drops per minute. Okay, so this is how actually LAM therapy is given, and at the rate of 4 to 6 drops per minute, it will take almost 8 to 10 hours for the whole process to complete. Now what is the third step? After starting LAM, just after you put the patient on LAM, you start the IV. You have to hydrate the patient again you have to hydrate the patient, but here only with normal saline 500 milliliter, not with KCl. You don't repeat KCl over here, you just give 500 milliliter normal saline. So this is the whole step of how LAM therapy is actually given. It is very important. You can see it on your screen. So this whole process is actually for just 1 day, and this thing is done for or continued or repeated for next 14 days. So as you can understand, it is a very costly and very long and tedious affair. What are the side effects of LAM? The main is nephrotoxicity. It causes acute kidney injury and also renal tubular acidosis type 1. So what are the features of AKI? AKI feature are hyperkalemia, hyponatremia, hypokalemia, hyperuricemia, metabolic acidosis, anemia, elevated creatinine, and others. What are the other drugs that are used in mucormycosis? First, antibiotics. Why? To prevent secondary infection. Then tablet posaconazole. Why posaconazole? Why tablet posaconazole? How tablet posaconazole? The tablet posaconazole are actually started after the LAM therapy started, not before that. Injection multivitamin and injection thiamine. Next thing that you can do is debridement surgery. Debridement surgery is actually very important. You should do debridement surgery before starting LAM therapy, or within 1 to 2 days or few days of starting LAM therapy. The reason is because the mucormycosis is highly angioinvasive and it causes thrombus formation and necrosis in that particular area. That's why if you start the patient on LAM therapy before debridement, then the drug will never reach the necrotic or the infected area. So you have to first debride the patient so that the drug reaches the infected area and everywhere. So debridement surgery is very important. Now the next last thing is retrobulbar LAM. Behind the eyes, a retrobulbar injection LAM is given. Why? To prevent the fungus spreading into the eyes. So this completes our whole discussion on mucormycosis. So if you like this video and found something useful and you got to know something more about mucormycosis, then please like, share and subscribe my channel and this video. And for more videos, stay tuned. Thank you.